It's no secret that diabetes can be better managed through healthy diet and lifestyle practices. Choosing nutrition-rich foods, avoiding junk foods, and prioritizing exercise are all simple strategies which help to support balanced blood sugar. But with so much confusion around what food is healthy and what's actually harmful for diabetics, it can be tricky to follow the well-meaning but sometimes counterproductive advice from others. And after all these years of debate, there are many diabetes treatment myths which may sound correct, but might not actually be true. So today, we're going to debunk some of the most major myths and address the worst advice ever given to diabetics. Now, let's tell you all about the worst advice ever given to diabetics. Number 3. Diabetics should avoid eating fats. It's well known that managing our calorie intake and reducing our consumption of excess foods helps us maintain a healthy weight. Yes, keeping to a diet that is high in calories combined with a sedentary lifestyle will most likely lead to weight gain, blood sugar dysregulation, and even possibly insulin resistance. So, at first blush, it might seem like you should avoid fatty foods. But is this really true? As a macronutrient, fats are higher in calories per gram than protein or carbohydrates. This means that including a large amount of fats in the diet may cause you to naturally consume excess calories. But does that mean you should avoid eating all and any fats? In reality, we all need to consume fat. But what matters is the type and amount of fat you choose to consume. So, avoid artery-clogging saturated fats and processed trans fats. But consume mono and polyunsaturated fats, especially foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy sources of dietary fat will supply heart-helping HDL cholesterol, and they can actually work to lower levels of unhealthy LDL cholesterol. Research now shows that unsaturated fats actually lower the risk of heart disease and stroke, which are each closely linked with diabetes. Unsaturated fats help your body lower your blood pressure, decrease your triglyceride levels, lessen the chances of abnormal heart rhythms, and they can even help prevent the buildup of plaque in the arteries. Plus, unsaturated fats have also been shown to reduce inflammation, prevent cognitive decline, and they decrease the risk of developing inflammatory disorders. They've even been shown to aid weight loss by helping you to feel fuller, quicker, thus helping prevent overeating. The Mediterranean diet is a great example of why it's so important to include plenty of healthy fats in the diet. This form of eating primarily focuses on vegetables and healthy fats, and studies show that those who subscribe to this style of eating have a lessened risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. And let's also dispel the myth that all cholesterol is bad for you too. It's not. As we've mentioned, there is a difference between naughty LDL cholesterol, which is increased by consuming saturated fat foods, and HDL cholesterol, which is increased via cardiovascular aiding unsaturated fat foods. That means you shouldn't fear appropriate portions of lean meats, dairy, certain cheeses, avocados, and yes, even eggs. In fact, a recent study found that diabetics who ate over 6 eggs per week did not experience any negative effects on their total cholesterol levels or heart disease risk factors. Instead, this study showed that the diabetic participants who regularly consumed eggs had increased levels of heart-healthy HDL cholesterol. Meanwhile, not only are dietary fats vital for our overall well-being, they also support balanced blood sugar levels. Multiple studies show significant improvements in post-meal blood sugar levels for those who regularly eat mono and polyunsaturated fats, from sources like fatty fish, nuts, beans, avocado, even peanut butter and eggs. So does this mean that as a diabetic, you should adopt a ketogenic, high-fat diet? Fats are incredibly beneficial for our health, but the general rule is always practice moderation and balance. So yes, it is okay, and in fact necessary, to eat fat. Just choose the right kind of fatty foods. And pair your fats with healthy sources of carbohydrates and protein. Number 2. Diet and exercise are the only ways to manage diabetes. The risk of developing diabetes is influenced by a range of factors. What we eat, our body weight, how active we are, our genetic history, and other environmental factors. While your food choices will help you manage your blood sugar, and exercise can indeed have a significant impact on your health, these are not the only 2 tools in your anti-diabetes toolkit. Did you know that stress can play a hugely influential role in your glucose control? During moments of tension, the human body automatically releases stress hormones, specifically cortisol, into the bloodstream. This, in turn, triggers the liver to release extra glucose. But meditation and breathing exercises have been shown to reduce diabetes-related stress factors, like high cortisol levels, high blood pressure, and weight gain. One study revealed that practicing meditation twice a week over a 6-month period led to a significant reduction in blood sugar levels and fasting glucose levels in participants with heart disease. Even a simple stress-relieving walk can aid your glucose control. Multiple studies show that post-dinner blood sugar levels can be reduced by 22% after a carb-heavy meal simply by taking a leisurely walk. Of course, that can be considered a form of exercise, but you don't have to work up a sweat to gain the glucose-lowering effects. Meanwhile, were you aware that your sleep also affects your blood sugar? As is the case with stress, sleep deprivation can also force your body to release cortisol, which will increase your glucose levels. That's why studies show that not getting enough quality sleep can directly contribute to heightened blood sugar. In fact, a recent study found that 62% of people with chronic blood sugar levels in the pre-diabetic range have poor sleep quality. Other studies show that poor sleep is associated with a reduced ability to control glucose levels. And hospital reviews have found that inpatients who experience a loss of sleep have increased glucose levels, whether or not they are diabetic. Meanwhile, recent research has also linked certain environmental toxins to an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Studies suggest that certain toxins and widely used commercial chemicals, like arsenic, BPA, phthalates, and organochlorine pesticides, can impair the body's ability to regulate blood sugar. Some toxins, like arsenic, can naturally be found in certain foods, like rice and some varieties of seafood. Many store-bought food products are packaged in plastic containers that contain phthalates, which are fat-soluble toxins. In certain cases, these toxins can seep into the fatty constituents of the packaged food. Other contaminants find their way into soil, drinking water, and even the air itself, after decades of industrial pollution and farmland pesticide spraying. So, unfortunately, it can be difficult to avoid being exposed to some of these chemicals. However, you can still minimize your risk by taking some common sense steps, like buying organic produce whenever possible, drinking bottled or purified water over tap water, and also by avoiding fat-rich foods sold in plastic containers, like margarine and packaged deli meats. So yes, you should certainly focus on your diet and your physical activity if you wish to improve your glucose levels. But you should also remember to lower your stress levels, improve your sleep quality, and you should also be mindful of avoiding environmental toxins as much as possible. What is the most incorrect but commonly given piece of advice for diabetics? Carbs are bad for diabetics. In the same way that fats are often demonized, many health professionals claim that carbohydrates should be avoided, especially for those who suffer from diabetes. Yes, carbohydrates directly cause blood sugar levels to rise. But while managing carbohydrate intake can be an effective way to regulate blood sugar levels, just like fat, your body needs carbs. After all, Carbohydrates supply the main form of energy for your muscle cells and even your brain. In fact, some of the very healthiest foods on the planet offer significant portions of carbohydrates. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, like beans and nuts, will give you complex carb content. Complex carbs will be broken down inside the body much more slowly than simple carbohydrates, often found in junk foods and sugary snacks. And while simple carb foods tend to lack much of any nutritional value, sources of complex carbohydrates supply glucose-lowering fiber, plus a wide range of diabetes-fighting nutrients. Take black beans, for example. A 100-gram serving of black beans can supply 25 grams of total carbohydrates. But that serving also gives you 7 grams of blood sugar balancing dietary fiber. Black beans also give you heart-aiding, blood sugar balancing vitamins and minerals, including potassium, magnesium, and iron. Plus, many natural sources of complex carbohydrates, like black beans, also supply a sizable portion of protein. By now, you surely know that protein acts much like fiber inside the human body by slowing digestion, which in turn works to slow the release of glucose into the bloodstream. Meanwhile, whole fresh fruits are often an excellent source of vitamin C, which has been shown to lower post-meal glucose levels. And most any vegetable contains a wealth of diabetes-fighting vitamins and minerals, like folate, iron, magnesium, and potassium. So, while a bowl of French fries or sugary cereal may skyrocket your blood sugar, a small portion of whole grains, beans, fruits, or vegetables can actually help your body avoid a glucose spike, while also supplying your muscles and brain with energy. In the end, carbohydrates are actually not inherently bad for diabetics. In fact, most doctors and dietitians recommend that 40 to 50% of each meal comes from carbs. Just be sure to fill half of your plate with quality sources of carbohydrates, which also supply fiber, protein, unsaturated fats, vitamins, and minerals.